ready for a shakedown. Prepare for a shakedown. From Philly where they clap like huddles when they break down.
We have super chat from Texas Eagle. Thank you so much, man. He said, if Hurts bombs this year, I think his replacement is already on the roster in Carson Strong. Anybody a big Carson Strong hater, or does anyone think that Minshew? Do you think Minshew actually might? If he's not traded, and it worries me because I feel like that this guy's going to be on the trade block. He's going to be secretly on the trade block until week 9 of the season, and until a quarterback goes down, they'll trade him. So I don't know how you guys feel about Carson Strong even going into this year.
I think Carson Strong's got a monster arm. Yeah. He's got a giant arm. If you watch him, his arm is live. He's got a huge arm. Now, I don't know what that means in translation. Like, he's not coming from the SEC, so we don't know. But he's 6'3", 225. He's got a big arm. He may be good. He may be able to play. But he's an undrafted free agent. It's the same thing I feel about Brooks, the running back. I can't rely or count on an undrafted free agent until they make the roster. I do think in the perfect situation for the Eagles, they would like Strong to develop and then next year become the backup and be a stable backup for the next 3-4 years. That's what they would like. As far as Minshew goes, I think Minshew, if Jalen Hurts is playing fantastic, maybe you get close to trade deadline, somebody gives you an offer for Minshew, maybe you take it. But more than likely, they're going to just let him play as the backup. He's $900,000. He's cheap. Okay. Why? You know what I mean? The only thing you're going to have to deal with is if he wants to go somewhere else and play because he wants to play. So I think their quarterback situation is really good right now. I don't know what to think about Carson Strong. Let's see what he does.
Say Hurts doesn't have a good year this year. Okay, say it's just not a good year. And I wouldn't necessarily say he gets benched, but say they let him play out the whole year regardless of how he plays, just for, just to see what he does. And
give me details. Like what week, what's his numbers kind of looking like? What's our record kind of looking like? And I'll tell you what I think.
What, 5? Say we have like 5-6 wins right now. Say we have 5-6 wins, okay? He's not – say the defense is playing better than, we thought they were going to play. He gets benched. Minshew comes in, gets us to win the NFC East, doesn't win a playoff game. Do you feel that going into next year, if the Eagles don't want to give up so much for a quarterback in the draft, for top 5, you have 2 first-round picks and a second-rounder, do you think the Eagles will take the shortcut and say either they look at a veteran and if someone's available, or they stick with Minshew on a new contract and extend him?
Minshew I don't think they extend Minshew, but I do think if, let's say you're in a situation you've got 5 wins and you're at week 9 or week 10 and part of it is because Jalen Hurts struggles, I do think they will pull him. I do. I don't think the leash is super long. I don't think he has as much room to maneuver in this this year like he did last year. If he's struggling and it's because of him and he's struggling, I could see a situation where Minshew would come in because they're not going to extend Hurts, right? And they might want to save this season. I think Gardner Minshew could win the division with this roster. So I do think that Jalen Hurts has to be good. He has to be good. Now, we're talking about a situation where it's like week 10 and you're in 3rd place and, things aren't looking good and he's struggling. His completion percentage is low. He hasn't thrown many touchdowns, maybe as many interceptions. Like, it's got to be the right situation. But I can see Minshew getting time to play at that point. But they're still not going to extend Minshew. I don't think they look at Minshew as a franchise quarterback, and neither do I.
Yeah, they have all these bullets ready to fire. I think that they knew last year was what last year was. It was way better than anybody thought it was going to be. That was beautiful. It bought Jalen Hurts probably another year of development, and we're going to see what happens now. I think 500 was 100% right. Like, this is it now. This is your real test. Last year we were saying that was his test. He was going to be gone no matter what. This is it. This is his test to see whether or not he's going to be the guy for the franchise. I don't think that the bar of expectations for Jalen Hurts is as high as, even me, I'll say, said it like as fans. I think we need, excuse me. I think that we think he needs to be so much better than he was last year. I don't know if the Eagles look at it like that. I think that he just needs to be good enough that they can keep building the team around him. I don't want to say that they would rather him be bad, but I think that they would be okay in a situation where he and the team understands he's not there yet, and it's going to take him a couple more years, and we can extend him on a cheaper deal and continue to build around him. I think the team would love that. I think the team would be okay with that. But, to talk about Carson Strong, I don't think that there's a world that Carson Strong realistically gets on the field at all. Like, I don't know if he even in the NFL. I mean, that man has went through knee surgery after knee surgery after knee surgery. Like, and it's not even just like, he tore his ACL here and there. He, in high school, his senior year, high school, he literally had to get his knee tendons reattached to his bone. Like, he's had some very, very freak accidents. So for him to even be in the NFL right now, I think is a blessing. And I hope that, that would be a beautiful story. But he does have an amazing arm. But unfortunately, you have to stand to throw the ball. So I don't know if he'll make it through a season, especially in the NFL. So I just don't see Carson really catching on. And he's totally different from Jalen Hurts, which I kind of find weird. He's like the polar opposite of Jalen Hurts. Big arm, really a statue in the pocket. So it's kind of a weird picking up. But I think that you're right, 500. I think that if they can build him, you look at like a Nate Sudfeld, right? You look at like you want to go back to Barkley. You want to go back to all these random guys that we picked up, trying to just kind of turn them into a higher pick at some point. So that's kind of what I see out of Carson Strong. Because if you get a 6th or a 5th round pick, you win the money, that right? You got him as an undrafted free agent, so you live good. So I think that's really what we're looking at from him. If he stays healthy through training camp, you might even get a team that's like, listen, we'll give you a 7th just to kind of see what we can do with him. But I don't see much beyond that.
And guess what? We got a guy here, Sports King, that's speaking Greek. He's speaking Greek, and I'm going to translate for you what he's saying, because he's saying things like that. We hope that Hurts gets benched is ridiculous, and we should listen to ourselves, and we keep wishing Wentz fans Hurts is the franchise. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. We want Jalen Hurts to succeed. We all want him to succeed because it's the best, easiest way for the Eagles to build back to a Super Bowl team. Everybody wants Hurts to succeed. I don't know any Eagle fans that wish this guy does not succeed. Even the ones that don't think he will still want him to. I've said this already. How many times have we said this, Joey? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 100,000 times. I think he's going to throw over 25 touchdowns this year for 4,000 yards, close to 30 touchdowns, plus another almost 10 running. I don't know. What else am I supposed to say? What else are we supposed to say?
The thing I love about it is that if you, I've been told that I'm starting to sound like what's his name, Dick Vitale. He said now I sound because I'm excited about this team. So when I was I was the Hurts hater for a long time, right? And then I switched my tone because I'm excited about this team, and now you're unrealistic. So you can't win. You know what I'm saying?
No, and since Sports King's like, no, you don't. It's like you're not even allowed to talk about different situations that can occur, because God forbid if you do that, you think for yourself, maybe that little wheel in your brain starts to move just a little bit because you're thinking for yourself. I discuss all situations, all possibilities, because anything can happen. And the one thing I know about football and watching the NFL, whatever you think can't happen, a lot of times does. Okay? A lot of weird things happen in the NFL. Nobody wants Hurts to fail. I'm so tired of hearing it. No, but we could talk about different situations that can occur. The point is that we're trying to make is simply that Jalen Hurts is going to be held to a higher standard this year because he's in the second year of being a starter and he's got talent around him. You can't say, well, he doesn't have any help. He doesn't have that. He has everything he needs. So it has to fall on him. That's all we're saying.
Better than what they had in 2017. Offensively, I think wide receiver-wise, offensive line plus depth, and I mean, maybe not the running backs as much because we were monsters at running back, but I mean, we still have talent there. If this kid could work out this year, I'm telling you, man, like they could be Super Bowl contenders next year. I can tell you, man, like it sounds crazy, but if he can get these throws and he can be accurate and all this work he's done with, Tom House and Quincy Avery and some of these other guys he's worked with this offseason, like just imagine, like you won't have to give up 2 first-round picks. You'll have 2 first-round picks, second-round pick, cap space. We had 2 great drafts. This one being phenomenal. Yeah. And on top of, obviously, all the additions we have, imagine with another offseason. Now, I want to ask Joe this because we obviously we didn't have him on the show last time, but do you believe the whole rumors about Jeffrey Lurie stepping back after the Sirianni hire? Do you think he's had a lot to do with some of these draft picks? Are all these – because Howie just did a 360. I mean, just totally just changed like dramatically. So do you think that there has been some tug, back and forth, pause, but you know what I mean about all that?
I think that there's a lot of in between the lines that I think a lot of Eagles fans aren't really doing right now, like reading between if you look at like all these firings, right? Obviously those are very surface value. So we all know about that, right? Everybody getting fired we're not fired, but a lot of people from the scouting team and, front office people are moving on. But the thing that kind of I think is very interesting to see, and that it goes with what you're asking, is that we didn't rehire or hire anybody for the position of Andy Weidel. So Andy Weidel is kind of at the, in the most layman's of terms, is kind of your liaison between Howie Roseman and the ownership and your scouts. Now it's Howie Roseman. So I do believe that Jeffrey Lurie probably is falling back a little bit, but it's not, to let Nick Sirianni do it. I think it's more so like saying, all right, Howie, you've proven your stones. Now go out there and do what you got to do. Maybe, the only thing that I've been told that maybe could be happening is they're grooming his son to kind of take that spot and be that guy to kind of learn more, which would make sense. But it seems like Howie's going to have way more of a mouthpiece than he's had before. And, he earned it. I will say that he deserves it after this offseason and last. I will be honest when it comes to that. Yeah. But I do believe, to answer your question, I do believe that Jeffrey Lurie's fallen back. I think that, he's always involved. We didn't have to see a lot of coaches get, hired in the past couple decades, obviously, because we had Andy Reid for so long, but he's always very, very heavily invested in what happens with that. So I think that's why we've seen it, or at least it seems like his hand's been in the pot so much, because we've had to go through so many coaching staffs. So he's always there, right? Like he has to make sure that that's going right. But now that I think he likes Nick Sirianni, I think he understands that the relationship between Nick and, Howie is at the very least amicable. I think he is falling back, but I don't think it's for Nick. I think it's, so Howie can just go do his thing. So I hope that answers your question.
I said this to 500 a million times, like that after that first round, okay, after that first round of the draft, and like watching that press conference, like the vibe, like between Nick and Howie, it was just like there was like a different vibe in the air with both of them. Like they have a really good relationship, like they're on the same page. There wasn't like, you could tell when certain organizations with press conferences, you could tell if there's some type of friction or something's going on where they're just saying stuff to say it. It seemed like they generally have a really good relationship, and I think that's part of it. And Jeffrey Lurie telling Howie, maybe you should draft more guys from Alabama. Maybe you got to do that. Maybe you have to draft from the bigger SEC schools or whatever you want to do. So, I was shocked. I was surprised, and this is where we are now. And really now it's up to the coaching staff to produce these players, put them in the right positions, and don't set these guys up to fail, and just run with it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I like what they're doing though. I get nervous with Howie. I mean, I think everybody does, right? I came into this YouTube stuff with the Fire Howie merch and everything, and now I got egg on my face from that. But this is looking good. Like, this is everything we wanted him to do, and I think I do believe, I can't say that I know for sure, but I do believe Nick is at least in his ear a little bit. I think that Howie respects what Nick says to a certain extent, because this is not what we've seen him like, right? Like, he's out here saying, "I got you, bro. What's going on?" Like he's like, just
what's going on?
It's like a different energy. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I like it though. I'll take it.
You good, Philly? You looking about the hunt for? You looking about the hunt for prey?
Like, we're Wentz fans. I used to be a Wentz fan when he was an Eagle, but I'm a fan of the team's name in front more than the player in the back. You know, the next time I'm a fan of Wentz will be when he's legless. You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on. Time out. You know he's saying that we're Wentz fans. Do you guys see my shirt right now? One is better than 4.
Yeah, but he's saying that you put, but he's saying that there's an invisible one next to the other one.
There's another one.
So it's surely an 11.
There's another one. I forgot I even had this shirt on. I'm like, wait, hold up.
Listen,
I didn't even realize
when Wentz was here, I love Wentz, of course, because he was a second overall pick. He was 11-2 that 2017 season's MVP. Obviously, you got to give him his due for that year. But once he's gone, he's gone. You know, I watched Reggie White leave. I watched Clyde Simmons, Seth Joyner leave. You have to get over being in love with the player in the, you know, his name on the back more than the team name in the front. And that's the one thing that I've learned. So now Wentz plays for Washington. I want him to feel pain. I want him destroyed, you know. Yeah. But as far as Howie goes, I mean, Howie is Howie. Howie gives me one more good draft, I will apologize, but not until then, because Howie, you know, he does some good things. He's in a lot of aspects. I think he's the best general manager in football when it comes to trades, when it comes to contracts and signings. He you know, it's suspect some of his draft picks in the past. It's gotten better the last 2 years, and maybe that's Jeffrey Lurie. Maybe this whole time you're right. Maybe Jeffrey Lurie has been throwing Howie to the wolves, and now he's taking a back seat. Well, if that's the case, then Howie is not only the best GM in football, he's also a saint. He's also a saint for not killing Jeffrey Lurie, because I would have gone nuts, you know. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think Howie's done a great job this all season. I think he did a great job last all season. And now, you know, we're going to see if this coaching staff can go out there and put these guys in a great position. I like the coaches we have, other than Jonathan Gannon, who scares me more than anything than, you know, on this team.
Yeah, you can't believe everything you hear, especially now until like when the season starts, because when Gann said he's going to do the same thing he did last year, you know, I mean, you just can't believe any of that. It's all smoke screens now, because they're not going to reveal anything. I mean, I really hope, like, if I don't see pressure from this defensive line, I'm going to be pissed. If I don't see Hassan Reddick with 10+ sacks this year, I'm going to be pissed. If I don't see these linebackers blitzing, if I'm not seeing any creativity, nothing with this defense, if you're putting these cornerbacks 8 to 10 yards off the line, you're playing prevent and you're being cautious of that big play, take chances. You know, we have to play better, man. Like the defensive line, like that's the number one thing I'm looking for right now defensively. Can we at least get pressure at what we have? Do you guys think we can get pressure with this defensive line as of right now with the additions?
We better. we damn sure better. I had Ross Tucker on the other day, right? And we were talking about like O-line and D-line and stuff. And he was talking about Jordan Davis and this D. And I'm like, you know, if we go from bottom 5, if we went from top 5 to bottom 5, you know what I'm saying? Somebody should pay for that. Somebody should pay for that. If we are not, and I'm going to say it straight up, if we do not end in the top 5 in sacks this year, somebody needs to get fired. And I'm talking Tracy Rocker needs to find a new job. I'm talking Jonathan Gannon needs to. That whole defensive staff can go, in my opinion. Maybe you can keep Nick Rowles because he's real young. I'll be okay with that. Maybe he can learn some new tricks. He's not an old dog. But outside of that, nah, they got. I wouldn't have been mad if they told me Jonathan Gannon was gone this year. I would not have been mad. I would have been okay with that. But especially now that we just did all this and invested so much in you, it's time to show. It's time to show. And I understand his scheme and everything. It might not really bode well for defensive linemen getting sacks. Well, then send every damn person that you have out of that linebacking crew and get me some. I need to be in top 5 again. I really want top 3, but I'll live with top 5. I won't be too mad with top 5.
No, if Hassan Reddick doesn't get double-digit sacks, there's a problem there. Yeah. If they don't know how to use him right, there's a problem there. You figure if he gets you double-digit sacks, then you get Josh Sweat gets you 7 to 8 sacks. Then Brandon Graham comes back, he can get you 7 to 8 sacks. And then you get, 6 by Hargrave, another 5 by Fletcher Cox, let's say. I think if you pull those kind of numbers, I think you're going to be fine. I think you'll be just fine. But you have to get pressure. If they don't get pressure and they don't blitz and they play those corners back and play zone, and they're going to get picked apart again like last year. It's not going to be any difference. You have to bring pressure. You have to be more aggressive than you were last year. It worries me that he's really going to make that dramatic of a change. I mean, you got guys like Nakobe Dean. You have Hassan. You have linebackers that can blitz. So you have to get pressure at all costs, man.
Here's a quote you can sing back. Shake squad up and don't be a dingbat. It's a shakedown.
Don't you frown. Here comes Philly shakedown.
Let's go.